Welcome back. I want us to go to the National Assembly, where the National Assembly Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning is in a joint sitting with the Senate sitting, of course. They're conducting a pre-vetting and approval hearings for Mr. Andrew Mukite Musangi. He's the nominee for appointment as the chairman of board for CBK. Let's listen in.
The second thing that reduces the cost of transfers, and I still don't understand why we're talking about 2030. This can be done a lot sooner. Mr. Chairman, we are settling these payments digitally. What is the real cost? What is the justification? The only justification for that charge is people hedging against currencies, nothing else. Because a bank will settle digitally on an interbank payment system. And the other thing we could develop is an intra-community settlement system, similar to what you have like on the SWIFT system. And then plug it into our banking systems and have an intra-country settlement system. That way, you have oiled the wheels of capital movement between the countries. But I do agree, it is simply not sustainable, nor is it fair for international trade to be conducted so expensively across our borders. We are simply punishing ourselves.
So are you giving a commitment that if this committee finds you fit for this position, you will spearhead the having a common currency across East Africa and perhaps across the region?
I'll be working day and night, Mr. Chairman, because it's something I think, unfortunately, we spend a lot of time talking about. But I think the best experience to borrow from is the EU. With or without Brexit, I think the euro has been a success, just from my own experience traveling in these countries and experiencing what it means to move seamlessly between borders. And after that, everything else can fall into place, customs unions. But Mr. Chairman, you do realize this is again the CBK with one hand with monetary policy, and we need to have the hand clapping with government on fiscal policy on this one, because the decision doesn't sit with central banks.
If this committee approves, we will be here to put you to account and remind you. Senator Alket?
Thank you, Chair. I think that in terms of role, the CBK Act really does not elaborate a lot around what the competency will be, other than Section 11, subsection 7, of what will require of you. Just some knowledge around monetary, financial, banking, and economic matters. But that said, I really appreciate and also congratulate you. Appreciate you coming and also congratulate you for your nomination. And may I join other members to wish you well in this process, although we are part of the people who might make it difficult or easier. But I have one comment with regards to that section that I've just read, and then two simple questions. My comment is around the crypto environment. And I know you did acknowledge that this is an environment that you're not very well conversant with. But my fear is you answered the question by Senator Shekila on the basis of speculative investment, so that we look at it from a facilitative role that the bank would do. But the craziness with the crypto environment is that it has grown and moved so fast from just cryptocurrency and speculative investments to a certain class of assets, the crypto assets, such that the crypto markets now, where we find ourselves, regardless of the technology and blockchain that we have, is such that the crypto assets make that market not so incompatible with the security laws, to the extent that things like consumer and investor protection are extremely key. So you would see the way the bank would come in without the speculative investment angle. So for instance, if you think about things like anti-money laundering policy in the traditional financial markets, vis-a-vis the crypto markets, you would find that with the new class of assets, it becomes extremely important that the central bank plays a role, regardless whether we have got a crypto backed by the bank. And if you also think about things like terrorism, we are in the region that terrorism is very common. So that is somewhere that I would want to invite you to think about, and even general consumer protection. You would understand that investors placing their bets on those kind of assets sometimes end up facing some challenges in terms of information. So it's an area that I'm very passionate about, that I think that given that section of the Act, you need to perhaps up the game a little bit, and not just look at it from the side of speculative investment, but also on the side of the fact that it's becoming a very serious class of assets. So I'll leave that at that. Then my question, one is, how do we make the bank work for the bottom part of the pyramid? I know that the current administration is very passionate about this, and if I contextualize this, perhaps I would take a sector like the border industry. National NTSA puts the number of borders within our borders now at 1.5 million people. If you are to unionize that, it will become the biggest union in the country. There was an attempt in 2021 to bring the digital lenders under control of the CBK with the CBK Amendment Act of 2011, but that just gave an oversight role to the bank over these digital lenders. But there are lenders who are predatory, who are not digitalized. So for instance, Watu Credit gives about 100,000 motorbikes in loans every year.
Right, that's the vetting of for CBK chair ongoing at the National Assembly. We'll be bringing you the latest on that. I want us to go back to Nyeri County and talk to Clement Masombo on the ASK show. Clement, good afternoon. If you can hear me again, tell us more about the show that's happening there at the moment.
Well, good afternoon to you, Fati. Indeed, this year's